Charlotte Kerner, I'm a senior lecturer in physical education and school sport. I have been teaching here at Edge Hill for about 18 months. I teach on 2 second year modules, a psychology in physical education module and a sociological issues module. There's 2 ways that I like to use video. So the kind of most simplistic way would be to enter the lecture theatre, press record, and it captures the session as I deliver it. Nice and easy. The second way is kind of using it as a tool to aid a flipped classroom approach. So I initially started using it when I found that students were encountering issues with kind of getting to grips with some of the content. So I was prescribed with teaching research methods, which is kind of always a difficult one to deliver because students often disengage from it because the content can be quite heavy and quite laden with long statistical terminology. The reason I wanted to engage with Panopto was to enhance student learning ultimately and student experience. When I could see visibly that students weren't getting to grips with the content in a session, it was kind of a little bit disheartening. So my main purpose is to get the students to learn more, so I thought that would be a good tool to use to support that process. The students can learn more through Panopto due to the fact that they can revisit the content. So particularly I had reports from students that had dyslexia, and they said about how beneficial it was for them because they didn't feel that they could take down sufficient notes during a traditional lecture session. Therefore, having the facility, the opportunity to go back and revisit that was beneficial for their particular needs. And what I actually found was the students that had those additional needs were viewing the videos a lot more than the students that didn't. So they were making good use of it to support them. I think it's a really good tool for all students, regardless of kind of their academic ability or their requirements, because ultimately the more that you engage with material, the more likely you are able to retain that information. So it provides the opportunity to repeatedly engage with that content and therefore increase retention. I think the benefits for the students particularly, and that's my main focus in terms of their learning, that's my job to get them to aid the learning process. So the benefits for the students outweigh any negative implications that might have in terms of my experience of it. I'd say that the students that disengage with a normal lecture are more likely to be the students that would disengage with recorded content anyway. So the characteristics of those students that are not attending the lectures, they would not attend regardless, if that makes sense. Yeah, and you do get a sense of, particularly when I was using it as a flipped classroom tool, of the students playing the system. So the sense that they would log in and it would come up on my statistics that they'd viewed the session when in fact they hadn't. So there's kind of mechanisms that you can put in place to kind of hopefully reduce some of those negative implications. So for example, testing the students on the content that they viewed. So actually understanding whether they got a grasp of the content through some kind of assessment format after viewing the video. So the students will definitely play the system if they can, but it's making them aware that we are observing them. So I think in terms of student satisfaction, I delivered a module without the use of Panopto 1 year and then a module using Panopto in the subsequent year. Exactly the same content, the only difference was the use of Panopto, and the student satisfaction went from 88% to 100%. So in terms of student experience, I feel that that's some kind of tangible impact that technology is having on the student experience.